Let's start with 15-11. The question is, what is the amount of goodwill that should be reported as a result of this business combination? Paid 1,700,000 for all the issued and outstanding common stock of Samar Corporation. That day, the total cost and total fair value of the net assets are 1,260,000 and 1,300,000 respectively. So this is 100% acquisition class, so no need for the table. So we just need two things, consideration and fair value of the net assets. Consideration is 1,700,000, and then the fair value of the net assets is 1,300,000. The difference would be 400,000. Do we expect these kind of problems to come out in the departmentals class? Hopefully. Okay, so that's it. Simply 400,000. Let's have 15-15. So very quickly lang class, how do we solve for consolidated income? We just need two things. Income of the parent from its own operations plus the income of the subsidiary, the adjusted income of the subsidiary. And that would give us already the consolidated income or the consolidated income using the entity approach. If we're trying to solve for the consolidated income under the parent approach, we just deduct the share of the non-controlling interest in the income, in the adjusted income of the subsidiary from the consolidated income under the entity approach. Then that will already be the consolidated income under the parent approach or the consolidated income attributable to the parent. Okay, so let's try to do that. Let's solve first for 2016. 2016 consolidated income. And again, the first thing we need is the income of the parent from its own operations. The income reported by the parent in 2016 is 185,000. Our task would be to determine whether this 185,000 is already the income of its own operations or not. We need to determine whether the 185 includes dividend income or not. What does the problem say? Shown does not include any dividend income. So meaning this amount is already the income from its own operations. Since we already have the income of the parent from its own operations, we only need the adjusted income of the subsidiary. Okay, and again, for this chapter, the primary source of adjustments to the income of the subsidiary would be the amortization of the excess over the fair value over the book value. So let's see what happened here. At that date, season 575 equipment with a remaining life of 5 years at a book value of 280 and a fair value of 300. All remaining assets at a book value equal to the fair value. All intangibles except goodwill are expected to have remaining lives of 10 years. So we only have one asset that has an excess that will be amortized. Again, the difference here is 280 and 300. The difference is 20. The fair value is greater, so there will be an amortization. The adjustment here would be a deduction because in the computation of the subsidiary in its own income, it is depreciating the asset at 280, but the consolidated entity believes that the asset should be depreciated using the 300. So in the eyes of the consolidated entity, the depreciation expense reported by the subsidiary and reflected in the 40,000 income is understated. The question now is by how much is the understatement? Two ways of solving for the understatement. First, compute for the depreciation of the subsidiary, and next, compute for the depreciation as far as the consolidated entity is concerned. So divide 280,000 by 10, so the depreciation expense of the subsidiary is 28. While if you ask the consolidated entity, the depreciation expense should be 30. So the difference of, sorry, not why 10? 5 lang. 280 divided by 5, that would be 56. 300 divided by 5, that would be 60. Difference between 56 and 60 is 4,000. So in the eyes of the consolidated entity, the depreciation expense of the subsidiary is understated by 4,000, thereby making the income of the subsidiary overstated by, overstated by 4,000. So to make the adjustments, to make it conform to the beliefs of the consolidated entity, we will deduct 4,000 from the 40,000. Alternative solution for the 4,000 class, just get the difference, 20,000 divided by 5. Okay, so the adjusted income of the subsidiary then is 36,000. You add that with 185, you would get how much? 221,000. Just supply me with the numbers. 221,000. And what do we call this 221,000? This is the consolidated income, or using the entity approach. For the sake of practice class, how much is the consolidated income attributable to the parent? What do we need to do? Just deduct the share of the NCI. Share in what? Share in the adjusted income of the subsidiary. So the possible mistake that you would commit, class, is that you will deduct the share of the NCI in the 40,000. In everything that we do, class, it should be based on the adjusted income of the subsidiary. So do not use the 40, you use the 36,000. 36,000 times the NCI, how much is the NCI? 30%. 36% times 3% will give you 10,800. Deduct 10,800 from 221,000, that will give you 210,200. And how do we call the 210,200? Consolidated income attributable to the parent, or consolidated income under the parent approach. Next, solve for retained earnings for year 1. What are the transactions that will affect your retained earnings? Investments, withdrawals, profit, or loss. But the withdrawals will be in the form of dividend payments. Okay. Now, first, if you're trying to solve for the ending RE of the consolidated entity, you need the beginning RE of the consolidated entity. How much then is the beginning RE of the consolidated entity? 700. That's the beginning. No, beginning. Meaning January 2, 2016. It is, at that date, Sison had, Sison, other 701. Pepe Corporation, Sweden Balance. At the date of acquisition was 701, sorry. So 701. What do we have to add? There will be no investments here, class. Then deduct dividends. Dividends declared by the parent. Did the parent declare dividends in 2016? How much? 50,000. Class, you deduct the entire 50, ha? Okay, this is from the parent, class. This all goes out. This all goes out. This all go out. So deduct the entire 50 from 701. But what else will affect your retained earnings? Profit or loss. Okay, that is if we are dealing with home sole proprietorship, partnership, or home office and branch accounting. But for consolidated entity class, this would be, instead of profit, this would be the profit or income attributable to the parent. The amount of income that will enter the consolidated retained earnings will only be the consolidated income attributable to the parent. And we have computed it to be 210,200. I think I really need to write this down. I cannot remember this. So you add this with the 700,000 and then 701, then you deduct the 50,000. Please help me here. 861,200. This is your RE at the end of 2017. 2016. Next, let's proceed to year 2. First question, compute for consolidated income. Again, what do we need to solve for consolidated income? Income of the parent from its own operations plus the adjusted income of the subsidiary. We already know that the amounts given in the table are already the income of the parent from its own operation. So no need to deduct anything from the 210. Okay, but what else do we need to add? Add the adjusted income of the subsidiary. It should not be 67. We know that we will have to make adjustment in the amount of 4,000 for 5 years. Okay, so since we are still in the second year, the 67,000 will still have to be adjusted by 4,000. So the adjusted income of the subsidiary or the income of the subsidiary in the eyes of the consolidated entity is 63,000. 63,000 plus 210,000. The consolidated income under the entity approach, or simply the consolidated income, would be 273,000. And there's only one 273,000 in the choices. We know that the answer will be letter D. Okay, but next, I want us to solve for retained earnings still. First, class, if you're solving for RE end, you should start with RE beginning. Because this is the RE end in 2016, which will in turn become your RE beginning. So this will serve as our RE beginning for 2017. And what do we have to add? Add profit or loss and then deduct dividends. Okay, but what kind of profit are we going to be adding? Just the profit attributable to the parent. Because where will the profit attributable to the NCI go? It will go to your NCI account, which is a separate account that is presented as part of your equity in the consolidated balance sheet. Okay, so for your RE, it will just be the amount that is attributable to the parent. So, what do we need to do with the 273,000 to arrive at the income attributable to the parent? Just deduct the share of the NCI in the adjusted income of the subsidiary. Again, not the 67. How much is the adjusted income, class? 64. Multiply that by 30%, you would get 18,900. Deduct 18,900 from 273. How much would that give you? 254,100. Then deduct dividends. Did the parent declare dividends?
Yes.
60,000. So 861 plus 250 minus 60 would be 800 to 1,055,300. That should be our ending retained earnings. Because I hope you're clear already, class. When do we need to deduct dividends from the subsidiary? When do we not need to deduct the dividends from the subsidiary? Why are we deducting the parent subsidiary? Because again, this is the consolidated retained earnings. Now let's practice our alternative solution for RE, class. What is our alternative solution for RE? RE beginning plus the undistributed plus the share in the undistributed earnings of the subsidiary. First, where do we begin? Beginning balance of the RE of the parent is 701,000. This is the RE of the parent, which will also be the RE of the consolidated entity at the start, because their only difference, class, will be dividends and profits, which do not exist at the date of acquisition. Okay, so we start with 701. Next, get the undistributed earnings. And what is this undistributed earnings? Earnings that have not yet been distributed. Income that has not yet been given as dividends. But again, the income here will always be adjusted, class. Okay, share in the undistributed earnings of the subsidiary. But again, always adjusted income. Okay, we can do this cumulatively, class. How much was the profit of the subsidiary adjusted in 2016? 36,000. Next, how much is the adjusted profit of the subsidiary in 2017? 64,000. 63,000. So that means the total earnings was 99,000. This is your earnings, but what we're looking for is the undistributed earnings. How much earnings were already distributed during the first 2 years? How much dividends were declared? 10 and 15, so total of 25. Because I hope you understand what I mean by undistributed earnings. So 99 minus 25 will give you 74,000. Okay, and then this would be your undistributed earnings. Then we get the share of the parent. How much is the share of the parent? This is 70%. How much is 70% of 70,000? 49. 51,800. We use this one to add to the RE of the parent class, to transform the RE of the parent to the RE of the consolidated entity. And I just realized it is not good that we immediately solve for the second year. Let's start with the first year lang. First, solve for the RE of the parent. First, solve for the RE of the parent. If you're the parent, excluding the transactions of the subsidiary, RE of the parent, profit of the parent plus, minus dividends paid. How much is the total income of the parent class? Total income of the parent. It's not the 185 because the 185 did not include dividend income. Include the dividend income. How much dividend income is in 2016? How much? How much dividends were paid by the subsidiary in 10,000? And how much is the share of the 70%? So 7,000. You add 7,000 with 185. 100. You add this with 701. And then we will have 893. This is the RE of the parent. Because this will rarely be asked, but I want you to have experience in solving for the RE of the parent because you can use that one to solve for the RE of the consolidated entity. Even we've solved earlier for the RE end of the consolidated entity after 1 year, it was 861,200. So the scenario I'm trying to give you, class, is what if you're given with the RE of the parent and you're asked to solve for the RE of the consolidated entity? So to do that, you just add the share of the parent in the undistributed earnings of the subsidiary. How much was the RE end of the parent in year 1? 893. Next, solve for the undistributed earnings of the subsidiary as of year 1. Year 1 lang. No, we mixed it already. Year 1 lang, class. It is 36,000 minus 10,000. So earnings in 2016 was 36 minus 10. The undistributed earnings is 26,000. Does everyone get the 26? Next, that is our undistributed earnings. Get the share of the parent, which is 70%. 26,000 times 70% will give you how much? So if you add 893, wait, why is this so different? Sorry, we need to deduct by the dividends. Because this one, what's this one? We need to deduct by the Can I get a scratch paper? Not that here. The dividends paid by the parent, it's 50. So if you were asked for RE and parent and we answered 893, our answer would have been wrong. 192 is the total income class, correct? Then deduct 50. This would give you 843. 701 plus 192 minus 50 is 843. Okay? So this is the REN of the parent. And I'm trying to ask you to transform the REN of the parent into the REN of the consolidated entity. And there's only one thing you need to add the share of the parent in the anticipated earnings of the subsidiary. How much was the anticipated earnings of the subsidiary as of the first year? 26,000. How much is the share of the parent? 18,200. If you add 843 and 18,200, this would be 861,200. Okay, next. How much is the REN of the parent in 2017? Okay, you will still start at 843. This is, remember, this is from the records of the parent. So 843 plus total income. How much is the total income of the subsidiary? 210 plus dividend income. How much is the dividend income? 70% of 15%. How much? 220. But how much dividends did the parent declare in 2017? 60? Help me here. 843 plus 220 minus 60 is 1,000,500.
1,003,500.
What do we call this one? REN of the parent in 2017. Now, transform the REN of the parent into the REN of the consolidated entity. And again, you only need to do one thing. Add the share of the parent in the anticipated earnings of the subsidiary. But this time, remember, 2 years worth of income were not included here. 2 years worth of income of the subsidiary was not included here. Only the dividends were included. Dividends received were included. So you go back to the cumulative class. How much the cumulative earnings of the subsidiary? 36 plus 63, you have 99. This is the cumulative earnings of the subsidiary for the first 2 years. Deduct the amount of dividends declared in the first 2 years. 25,000. 99 minus 25. That means the anticipated earnings after 2 years is 74,000. And again, you just get the share of the parent. How much is the share of the parent class? 70%, which is 51,800. And if you add 51,800, this should hopefully get 1,055,300. And again, it's important for you to be familiar with these two ways of solving for your consolidated retained earnings class. Yeah, you will not be able to appreciate the alternative solution class because the income given here is already income of the parent from its own operations. Our effort was doubled class because we had to add back the dividend income. But in problems class wherein the given income of the parent is its total income, meaning it already includes the income of dividend income, then this would surely help class. Okay? And this is especially helpful class if you're asked for 10 years, 5 years. So what's my point? if you're asked for REN of the consolidated entity, you can solve that by starting from the very beginning for the consolidated entity down unto whatever is being asked for. But there's an alternative solution. You can just rely on the RE of the parent on that particular year, but just add the cumulative share of the parent in the anticipated share of the parent in the anticipated cumulative anticipated earnings of the subsidiary. But again, in computing for the cumulative anticipated earnings class, the income of the subsidiary should be the adjusted income class. So if your amortization of the excess, if your adjustment to the income of the subsidiary is wrong, expect a lot of things to be wrong. That's how 15-19. Class, please take time to fully understand everything. Class, okay, when we proceed to chapter 16, class, and 17, what will happen is that those will introduce transactions that will cause more adjustments to your income of the subsidiary. And if it's a, depending on the type of transaction, whether it's downstream or upstream, there can even be an adjustment also to the income of the parent class. So whatever difficulty you will have now, those will still linger, class, when we proceed to the next chapters. It's just, and it will actually be compounded, class, because there will be additional items that you will have to take care of, class. 19 was the question. Consolidated income attributable to the parent. Okay, very similar to problem 15-15, correct? Let's just check. Is the comprehensive income given there? What does it say? The companies recorded the following results. It does not say it's from own operations class, and since it's called comprehensive income class, then it must already include dividend income. Okay. Let's check if we need any adjustments to the income of the subsidiary. On that date, Solis Cream company reported retained earnings of 100,000 and had 200,000 of stock outstanding. And then it was 400 at the position. No adjustments? Okay. I'll erase this one na klasa. First, income, consolidated income. What are the two things we need to solve for consolidated income? Income of the parent from its own operations and adjusted income of the subsidiary. But the income given for the parent is not yet from its own operations. We need to deduct dividend income. Where can we find the dividend income? From the dividends declared by the subsidiary. Where's the subsidiary dividends? 30,000. Does everyone see the 30,000? Because, and again, this is why students tend to get confused, class bakay. Essentially the same problem, class, but the presentation now is different. In problem 15-15, you're first given with the columns, sorry, the rows are for the parent and the subsidiary class, and then you're given with 2016 first and then 2017 follows. 2017 next. But then in 15-19, the rows now are for 2016. So the first two rows are for 2016 and the second two rows are for, the next two rows are for 2017. But as long as you're not careless, class, you should be able to notice the difference in the presentation. Okay, so 70,000 minus dividend income. Do we deduct the entire 30, class? Because we do not receive, the parent does not receive the entire 30. How much of the 30 goes to the holders of the controlling interest? Only 60%, which is equivalent to 18,000, meaning the income of the parent of 70 only includes dividend income of 18. So the income of the parent from its own operations is only 52,000. Next, add what? Add the adjusted income of the subsidiary. But as mentioned earlier, there are no adjustments to the income of the subsidiary. So simply add the 35. Was it 52 class? 52 plus 35 will give you 87,000. What do we call this 87,000? Consolidated income, or consolidated income under the entity approach. But is this what we're looking for? No, what we're looking for is the consolidated income attributable to the parent. So from this 87, how do we arrive there? Deduct the share of the NCI. How much is the NCI? 40%. 40% of 35,000 will give you 14,000. This will give you deduct it. 73,000. But this is not among the choices because this 73,000 is for 2016. Let's solve for RE of the constituted entity on year 1. Where do we begin? Beginning RE. How much is the beginning RE? Is it given somewhere in the problem? 400. Then what do we have to do? Add the income of the parent attributable, constituted income attributable to parent, which was 73,000 minus dividends paid by the parent in the amount of, this would be 448. Okay, what do we call this 448? This is the consolidated retained earnings at the end of 2016. Again, this is still not what we're looking for. Next, proceed to 2017. Because understand that there can be several questions from this problem class. First question, considered income in 2016, considered income attributable to the parent in 2016, considered RE at the end of 2016. That's 3 already. Then another 3 for 2017. Okay, let's do this all over for 2017. What's the first thing we need to solve for considered income? Income of the parent from its own operations. Okay, what do we have to do? Remove the dividend income from the 90. How much is the dividend income included in the 90? Where do we have to look, class? Look at the subsidiary. How much dividends did the subsidiary pay? 15. Do we deduct the entire 15? No, only the share of the parent, which is 60% equivalent to 9,000. So the income of the parent from its own operations would be 81,000. Next, add the adjusted income of the subsidiary. There being no adjustments, class, this will simply be 40,000. So 81 minus 40 will give you plus 40. $81,000 plus will give you 1 to 1. Okay, and how do we call this 121,000? This is the consolidated income or the consolidated income under the entity approach. So that means the answer will either be A or D. Okay? Oh no. Attributable to parents. So we already know it's going to be 105. Okay, but let's try to arrive at 105. How do we arrive at 105 from 121? Deduct the share of the NCI in the adjusted income of the subsidiary. Okay, how much is 40% of 40,000? That is 16. 121 minus 16 will give you 105,000. This is now the income attributable to the parent. Next, RE. Plus, by using our first solution class, you need to carry it over to the next year. How much was the REN after the first year? 448,000. Okay? You need to carry over this one to the next year. Then, once you have the beginning RE of the consolidated entity, add what? Income of the parent, sorry, consolidated income attributable to parent, which was, and then deduct the dividends paid by the parent in the amount of 30,000. So 448 plus 105 minus 30, 523. So the answer here is okay. Let's try, class, our alternative solution. To use our alternative solution, class, you need the RE end of the parent. RE end of the parent. Okay. How much was the starting RE of the parent at the date of acquisition? 400,000. Next, total income of the parent is already given. That is 70. And then, how much dividends did the parent pay? 25. So after the first year, the RE of the parent is 445. This is year 1, class. Let's proceed to year 2. What else do we need to do? Add the income of the parent. Income of the parent in year 2 is 90. And then deduct the dividends paid by the parent in the amount of 30, 25. 30. So this would be 505. Okay. I might ask this as an additional question to this problem. Okay. How much is the ending RE of the parent at the end of year 1? 445,000. How much is the ending RE of the parent as of 2017? 505,000. Okay. I'll ask this question just to force you to use the alternative solution. Now, how can we use the 445 to arrive at your 448? 448 is the RE consolidated entity. The RE of the consolidated entity as of year 1. How do we arrive at 445 to 448? Again, by using the RE end of the parent, all you have to do to arrive at the RE end of the consolidated entity is to add the share in the undistributed earnings. How much earnings did the subsidiary have in the first year? 35. How much dividends were given? 30. So how much undistributed? How much earnings were not distributed? 5. And how much is the share of the? How much is the share of the parent or the controlling interest? 60%. How much is 60% of 3,000? 3,000. So you add 3,000 with 445, you will arrive at 448. Okay, but again, you will not appreciate that if it's only the first year. Let's try to go to the second year, class. Okay, what's the RE end as of the second year? 505. How do we transform the 505 into 523? Again, 505 is the ending RE of the parent on 2017. 523 is the ending RE of the consolidated entity at the end of 2017. How do we transform 505 to 528? Add the share of the parent or the controlling interest in the cumulative undistributed earnings of the subsidiary. Okay, so get the earnings. What are the earnings of the subsidiary? 35 and 40. So total earnings of the subsidiary is 75. And then how much of the 75 were distributed already to the shareholders? 30 and 45. So 30 and 15. Please get the cell phone. 35 and 40, 75 minus 30 and 15. The cumulative and distributed earnings is 30 or 40? 30,000. Everyone get 30,000. And get the share of the controlling interest in the cumulative and distributed earnings. 30 times 60% will give you 18. So 505 plus 18 will give you 523,000.